This video is going to be about Revit areas and how to use them to create occupancy load schedules. And you can see an example of that right here where I've gone in and defined areas of occupancy, and it gives you that square footage, and then you can go and create a schedule for that. So here's that schedule reading out the square footage. There's a ratio in here, and then it's looking at the area and calculating out the load for that area and giving you the totals for that load and for the square footages. You can also do a legend. You can see here. This is actually a gross square footage calculation that I used the default Revit gross square footage calculation for, and you can see that area scheme over here, adding the interior and the exterior. One thing that we do have here in this case is we have a linear calculation for the bar and a linear calculation for the booths, and those are a little difficult to do. You either have to do them manually. There's no way to easily add them into your calculations for the schedule, since all these are area. This is an area parameter, and that would be a completely different parameter. We'll look at a couple of different ways of dealing with that, and one of them is figuring out a way to calculate it parametrically, which is possible, and then the other is to port your schedule that's being calculated by the areas out to Excel and add the linear into it in a vertical stack and then bring it back in. So there's a little bit of this and that going on, but we'll take a look at how that works. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to a different project that doesn't have any of those occupancy plans in them, and I want to go ahead and start from scratch. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to the architecture tab and the room and area and create an area scheme specifically for an occupancy load. So I'm going to go to this pull down. I'm going to go to area and volume calculation computations and go to the area schemes tab. And you'll see it has gross and rentable, which are the default ones that Revit loads, and I'm just going to go to new, and it's going to create a new one, and I'll call this occupancy load. And then I'll come over here and change the description. Area measurements based on usage. Okay, and I'll click OK, and that'll add that as an area scheme option when I go to make my area plans. Now the next thing we want to do is actually create an area plan, which is a unique plan within Revit. You don't duplicate your existing plan. You come up to the room and area, and in the area pull down you have area plan, and if you click on that, it will bring up the different types of options. So gross building, you'll see that A1 is missing because I've done a gross building calculation in here already with that area scheme. So I'm going to go to occupancy load and do that for plan 1 and click OK. And then it wants to automatically create boundary lines. No, we don't want to do this. Sometimes it works, but in our case our boundaries are so unique that we don't want to do that. We want to control it ourselves. So I'm going to click no, and it's going to open up a default plan, and then you just kind of have to clean this guy up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just go in here and view hide these guys, and let's get rid of this, view hide that, and then maybe for right now I leave it uncropped, and we'll see how it works and if it works with our scope box, which is what this guy is. And then you can come in, and you have to be in the area plan, and let me show you where those are in the stack. You can see I have a gross building area plan already, and then here I have a area plan occupancy load, and that's this guy right here that it just created. So what I'm going to do is go in here and say plan 1 occupancy, right, just to define it from the other ones, and I'm not going to rename the corresponding level, no. Okay, and so now the next step is going to be putting in our areas, and I'll do that in the next video.